This is our lesson 6.7. It's on distance on the coordinate plane. So here's an easy example. We're going to find the distance between point A and point C in this coordinate plane. So notice how A lives at -1, 5. That's 1 unit to the left and 5 units up. C lives at the ordered pair 3, 5. So we're going 3 to the right and 5 up from the origin. How long is this segment AC? Or how far is it from point A to point C? Well, the nice thing about this is, hopefully you noticed this already, this is a horizontal segment because that y coordinate there, it's 5 for both. So anytime you have a horizontal or a vertical segment, all you need to do is count the length. So we can just count 1, 2, 3, 4 units. So how far is it from A to C? It's 4 units. Now, if you would have counted from C to A, remember, it's still 4. It's not negative because you went left. Segment lengths are always positive. Now, unfortunately, that is not always going to work. You're not always going to have a horizontal or a vertical segment. A lot of times you're going to have diagonal segments that you need to find the distance between the points for. So here is how you're going to do it. You're going to use this formula. And this formula comes from the Pythagorean theorem, which we just spent a lot of time on. You're going to take the square root of the difference of your x's squared added to the difference of your y's squared. That might not make a lot of sense to you just looking at it, but it will once we use it on this example. So let's redo this example. Actually, this is an example that we skipped over, but we're going to use the distance formula to find the distance from point L to point N. Now they're telling you it's 8.25. How did you get that? Well, here's what you do. Your x values, remember, are the first number in each of the ordered pairs. So our x values are, I'll use the same blue, 6 and -2. So you just put those right there in your formula. Just make sure you have a minus sign there. So we are subtracting a negative, notice. And then our y values, we have to put them in the same order that we put our x's. So if we call this our first x, that's going to be our first y. So we can simplify this now. You could type all of this into your calculator if you wanted to, but since I don't have my calculator displayed, maybe I'll just show you how to type it in or work it out by hand. 6 minus -2. That's like 6 plus 2. And if you didn't know that, you could type that in your calculator. 6 minus -2. That gives you 8. And we want to square that. Over on this side, we have -5 minus -3. That's like -5 plus 3. That gives you -2. And we want to square that also. I know that 8 squared is 64. I also know that -2 squared, that's -2 times -2, gives me +4. 64 plus 4 is 68. So my answer is the square root of 68. That's the exact answer. And that might not mean a whole lot to you, but notice up here, it told you the answer was 8.25. Well, isn't the square root of 64 8? So the square root of 68 should be a little bit bigger. So 8.25 makes some sense. What I'm going to do is, you can't see this probably, but I'm going to type into my calculator square root of 68. And that gives me 8.25. So this is where you put your numbers so you can use the distance formula. We'll do this one on the next video.